Hello, guys. You're welcome wherever you are. You're welcome at Alice Andrews Talks. We come here, in the evenings most of the times. I know it's not ideal, but that's the best I can do. So you're welcome. I can't see who is there. That's Fundo Chimpeni. You're welcome. Yes, guys. So today I want to talk about communication being the most, important, thing in a relationship. A lot of us, we live our lives, we think that, oh, as long as I'm good looking, as long as I'm educated, as long as I have this, as long as I have money, or I have this, then a relationship will be the easiest thing that we can do, but that's not true, because communication, as I have found in this life, is very vital. But then again, how you communicate, when you communicate, and just checking that the things that you claim you have communicated to they've. Hold on, guys, let me do something, because if it starts all this baffling, it's gonna give me problems. So okay, so we are back. Thank you, guys. So I was just talking about communication, and why I chose communication. It's because, there's a lot of us who, effective communication. Exactly, we are going there. There are so many people who, there are so many of us, I should say, who we make decision based on our interpretation, not necessarily what the other person means. We don't speak to them or ask them what the issue is, or we don't communicate our needs to say, okay, whether it's a friend or it's a boyfriend or whatever it is, you don't tell other people exactly what you want or whatever it is that you feel at, unease about. You don't communicate that. Instead, you just go ahead and make certain decisions, and you assume that everything that you see somebody is doing, they're doing it deliberately. That's lacking in communication. If somebody has done something and you feel like, oh, I don't understand why they did that, you need to open your mouth and communicate with them. Now, communicating with somebody is not like what Tinali said somewhere there about talking at them. Because some of us, even as we are passing, we are going somewhere, we just say, oh, by the way, oh, can you make sure you do that? Those are not deep conversations. That's just passing a message for something that is not really important to you. But when you really want to communicate something which is an issue for you, because we are talking about relationship is something that you want the other person to relate to you, to understand how you feel, or to understand how certain things mean to you. So you want to make sure they understand how you feel, because they can't just work it out. Now, the problem is, a lot of us, we actually believe that we already know why somebody is doing what they're doing. Or we believe that when we just say things anyhow, then the other person has already understood what we are driving at. And sometimes there are certain things. Let me give you a very interesting example in a relationship. You could be in a relationship with a man, okay? And you will be telling yourself that, oh, this and that, I think this is bad, according to you. This and that is bad. So when you see this guy, there are certain things you avoid saying because you're conscious saying, oh, if I say this, maybe I'll offend him. Or there are certain things when you say to him, you think you're being funny or you're being this. What I've come to find out is, there are so many things that you think are a big deal, the other person doesn't even care about. And the things that you think it's okay to do, they are the things that you wake up one day and find out that they were offending the other person. But because communication was not there. It's like, even, like if you love flowers, and then you are in a relationship with a man who don't buy you flowers. Instead, he buys you a bottle of wine, or he buys you maybe a box of chocolates. Of course, he is doing something, but what he's doing doesn't mean anything to you. The things he's not doing They mean a lot to you. But there is no communication of all this. This is why somebody will say, oh, I don't know why she was lacking because, I've always given her everything. But what is everything? Because this is not a representation of what you want or what means a lot to you. But communication is a place where you meet to say, you know what, I like it. If you could do this, you could do that. A kind heart will always come through. But the thing is, you miss certain things. Even when somebody says something, now where communication fails is when us, which I've seen in us, a lot of us Africans, where communication fails is sometimes somebody will sit us down and say that, oh, I'm concerned because you do this, you do that. Where communication fails as well is when somebody tells you that I don't really like when you do this, we get offended. We get offended saying, oh, how could she say that? Oh, I only did this because of this. No, the whole point of communication is for you to understand that your actions or the things that you say, this is how it feels on the other end. Now you need to think to say, okay, maybe this doesn't matter to me, but if it's doing something to somebody, then maybe I need to work on it. And in the same manner, there's certain things that matter to you. Like as I already said, somebody may take it for granted, but it matters to you. The fact that you communicated, then it is sorted. I'll give you a very simple example. For example, I'm saying for example. For example, I am from the north. People always have something to say. Oh, atumbukainu. Oh, atumbukainu, and things like that. Personally, if I see somebody out here, on Facebook or whatever, talking about my tribe or where I come from in a certain way, I just ignore them. If I hang around you and all you do is, oh, pajaino atumbuka this, oh, pajaino atumbuka that, yeah? I'll bring your attention to it that I don't like that. Because the way it sounds to me is like you, for example, you'll be from Zambia. I'm from Malawi. Then every time I have an opportunity to say something to you, I'm like, you Zambians. It's the same like a white man in every conversation. Oh, you black people. You see, it sounds like a person has an issue with that. Yet you, when you're talking, you don't bring such things up. So what I'm saying is, I personally, if I hang around you, I'll bring your attention to it. I communicate about it. And the first time I'm telling you, I'm not even upset about it. I'm just bringing your attention to say, I don't think that's nice for you to be doing that. But you will see people who will say, oh, I don't see an issue. They're saying they don't see an issue, but they're not the ones who come from where I come from. It's me who is telling you that I don't like it. But they'll continue saying it, And then, now, so you have told somebody nicely, but they have refused. This is where communication becomes a problem. It's like somebody is telling you, even in a relationship, I don't like that you play, music until midnight and blah, blah. Oh, hey, but I like it like that. You insist on doing something that somebody has clearly pointed out to you. These are just examples. You can expand them to anything to say, what is it that in your life somebody has ever said to you that, oh, you're doing this, and how did you take it? Okay, how did you take it? Were you offended that they've told you they didn't like something? Or did you sit down and say, oh, I actually didn't think that was a big deal. Oh, but since it's an issue for them, and I like them as being my friend, or maybe I love them as my girlfriend, or I love them as my boyfriend, or let me see what I can do and do something about it. A lot of us, we refuse to listen to what the other person is saying. We want to insist on doing whatever we are doing, which communicates lack of respect, which communicates that we don't even care about the person. That's what it is. So in a way, when you're talking about effective communication, is when you have understood and then you do something about it. It means it's, effective in that way. Sometimes if you have understood but you decide that you don't care, then the other person is going to take an action. Also, where these communications becomes a problem is when, in relationships as well, you might be feeling a certain way about what your partner or your spouse is doing. And then you don't say anything on a normal day, like just sit them down and like, oh, I'm not happy because you do this, you do that. Please, can you not do that because it makes me feel ABC. And it's important that when you are communicating about especially things, like your feelings, you say to somebody that this is how it makes me feel. Not just saying, oh, you do this, you do, like just throwing accusations. You tell the other person, I don't like this, because when you say this is how it makes me feel. So you say what you want to say on a normal day so that they can do something. A lot of us, we don't know how to communicate effectively in that sense. What we do is, we don't like something today, we just sit quiet. Something happens tomorrow, we sit quiet. On another day, we sit quiet. So that person, like we are the ones who are feeling that way. But then the other person, one day, they'll sit us down and they'll be like, oh, Alice, you know what? I don't know why, but you keep doing this. And to be honest, me, I really don't like it because it makes me feel this way or that way. You see, a lot of people, they turn around at that point. They'll start being defensive and tell the person, oh, how could you say that? You're the one who said this day. You're the one who did this that day. You're the one with... So now, it's like you are not addressing what somebody has actually just told you. Apart from those things that are said, that some people don't say anything, but you are now deflecting. You don't want to talk about what has been said. You now want to throw in what you have been feeling, but you never told anybody. And this person is telling you how they are feeling about something as in the present moment. It's like going in a courtroom. They brought you in there to tell you that you have stolen something. Instead of you to answer, to say, Your Honor, I did not steal this thing. And to be honest, I bought it at such and such, and prove how you bought it and all those things, and say, I had no knowledge that maybe it's stolen, and make your case there and, finish everything. This type of argument, the one I just presented, is like you going in court, they're accusing you of stealing. Instead of stealing, you say, oh, but she also cheated on me. You see how that sounds? You're not dealing with this. You just want to throw in what you want to divert from the issue. Now, what happens with that type of behavior? It's a toxic behavior, to say the least. But what happens is, everybody will put in what they put in. The person who started the issue will get frustrated. In the end, there'll be stupid federation. This one will be talking, this one will be talking, and the issue will get nowhere. What was presented will not be addressed. What you're throwing in as a defense will not be addressed. None of it. Now you see, you are living your life angry that this is not done. And the other person is so annoyed that you couldn't even just answer what they were telling you because you want to be defensive. Being defensive is a very toxic thing. When somebody brings you an issue, learn to answer what is in front of you. Or when something has happened, learn to address what's in front of you. If you have issues, make your own time. Make your own time and bring them forward and say, you know what, these are the issues I'm feeling. And be receptive. Listen. A lot of us, we listen to just respond, not to understand. We don't ask ourselves to say, okay, this person is telling me this. They've taken time to sit down. This must have really bothered them. We don't. Instead, we are just sitting there waiting for the person to finish talking. We get offended and we answer, and the fight starts. And then we wonder why our relationships are really bad. Nobody is going to design a perfect relationship for you if you refuse to communicate. And some of you, until today, you do silent treatments in a marriage or silent treatments in a relationship. Oh, because a man did something you didn't like. He's calling you, you don't answer. He's trying to talk to you, you don't answer. You are there inside the house, you just pass him like you as if you are an ambulance, you are in a hurry. You say you are angry because of this, because of that. That's toxic. That's toxic behavior. Why are you doing that for? When you decide that you are not going to talk, okay, you are not frustrating the other person. What happens is, it's like you have made a concoction of poison and you've drunk it and it's boiling inside your body, and you are hoping that that poison is going to kill the other person, but you're the one who drank it. So you need to ask yourself that, are you doing yourself a favor? I have been there before. Back in the day, my husband would be like talking to me like when we were dating. Because he has done something, I'll be so mad. so mad. Like, he's talking to me, I will not even answer. And he will even check with me to see that did I hear him? He'll be like, but did you even hear what I said? And I will not even answer. It means between myself, I've agreed that I will not answer him. But do you know, those were the times that I'm so angry. But, that's childish because you don't realize that you taking it with you and he's going a different direction. Now, in the night, I will not sleep again. I'm thinking, oh, maybe he should have come and insist on asking me how I felt. He just went. You see? Because all this is toxic, childish behavior. There is nothing productive that is going to come out of it. So it's even better to turn around and say, I really didn't like what you did. And then explain how you felt, and you say it. For me to literally leave that behavior, it was so funny that no matter what I can do, if I call my husband, he will still pick my phone. If I want to talk to him, he will still answer me. And I'm thinking, so what's wrong with me? I mean, why do I make it like I'm the only person who is so offended in this life? Like, as if I have never offended another person. Do you understand? So, when somebody make an effort, they want to talk to you, respond. Respond, not react. Being defensive is a reaction. You want to counteract, attack the other person. Oh, you said this. Oh, I feel like you have attacked me, so I'm going to attack you as well. No, it's not a battlefield. That kind of foolishness, you do it on the street. But if you want to be with someone, and you want to have a very productive relationship, then you need to learn to listen, to understand what the other person is saying. And you need to, respond things that will show that you actually understood. When somebody says something that you're thinking, oh, I don't understand why she would say that, then ask a question. What did you mean by that? A lot of us want to act like we already understand what the other person is saying, but we don't. Because we go on and do something else different. In any given relationship that you have ever known that maybe people broke up in the end, go separately. Ask A, why did you break up with B? They'll tell you one reason. You go to B, why did you break up with A? B will tell you a totally different reason. Yet in the meantime, when they were fighting or whatever the issue was, they were assuming that they had the same reason. But, sometimes even people lie. And some people, you ask them, why did you lie? They'll tell you that they can't be bothered. They honestly can't. Because they try to speak to this person, but the person will argue with them. A lot of us, we want to insist that what the other person is saying, it ends so. No, they're telling you how they feel. You're living with them or you're in a relationship with them. They're telling you how they feel, how you're treating them, like how it makes them feel. Pay attention and answer accordingly. Or if you didn't even realize, which is very, very possible, we are human beings. And I've told you from the beginning that there are certain things you do. You actually think that you're doing the right thing. But those are the things that bother the other person. It's like how people turn around in places and insult somebody. You could be being nasty to somebody, like you could be saying nasty things to somebody. The person can hear you. But you see why that insult will not work on them? Is because what you are saying, what you are making a big deal is not a big deal for them. They will understand that you're being disrespectful. But it's not an area of life that they are bothered. So they will leave you to it. You understand? But you, when you left your house, you thought that when you talk like that, that's an issue on your part, that you are trying to make that person feel bad. In the same way, when you have a toxic person around you, they will say certain things. If you have understood that they are doing this for this reason, you may be so calm, but them, when they are talking, they think this is what will bother you. In other words, what I'm saying is, it's not always what you think will be a bother for another person that is actually a bother. Okay? There are so many things that you might think it's a bother, another person don't even care about. Okay? There are so many things you might be thinking, oh, I'm being brilliant by doing this. And the other person might be so annoyed and so feel sick about it. This is why people come out of a relationship and say, I don't even know how it ended. I don't know why it ended. Because I feel like I was doing the best. Because communication was not there. When you communicate and you allow a climate where a person can tell you how they feel without you feeling offended, or without you running to the defense and start defending yourself as if I don't know, it's like you are afraid to look like a bad person. Grow up. If somebody tells you that they don't like this, they don't like, even shower itself. If somebody tells you, you know, I don't know, I know you shower, but there is just this smell that I don't understand. Don't turn around and be so offended and say, how can he even suggest that I'm smelling? Instead, find out when did they feel that smell, or when do they often feel that smell, and learn from what they're saying. You know, it might be an interesting thing to hear, but you try and find more information and think, oh, so what can I do? You know, and then do something about it. That's how relationships become genuine. But this whole thing of when somebody tells you something, you're so offended, and then you say, oh, how could he say that? And some of you even turn up and say, this is my first time hearing you saying that I'm smelling. All the relationships that I've had, nobody ever complained. Do you even hear yourself talk? If the relationships that you had, they had no problem, why are you not there? Why are you still not with that person? Huh? So if you're with someone who is telling you something in a very nice way, why are you offended? Okay? Is it not better that the person you're with can communicate with you whatever issues are there? Then you go away and then see how you can work it out. Communication is very important. And you even here on Facebook, somebody like here on the platform, I'll be talking about a certain a topic. There are people, do you know, if that topic, they listen to it, they will say, oh, I think God is talking to me because me, there was this, there was this, there was that. In the same topic, another person will say, oh, maybe Alice Andrews talks, maybe was told about my story. So many people will take a different interpretation depending from their own perspective. But if they ask me and say, Alice, why did you do that topic in particular? I may have a very different reason. But that's what communication does. When you communicate, you find out things that you didn't know. A child can leave home at the age of 16 and run to the street and don't come back home. Everybody will say that that girl is stupid because she just wants to go out there and, you know, do foolishness. But then somebody else who is very interested, when I say very interested, is somebody who goes beyond condemning and decide to say, come here. Why have you left home? The girl will tell you a shocking story that, oh, those people, yeah, they're telling you that, but the man in that house was trying to rape me. I had to run away from home. You see, don't go and just interpret things that you don't know. Ask. And if you're in a relationship, you are at a place where you're sitting down, you want to communicate certain things. Say it in a way that the other person will also understand. Because there are some of us, we say, oh, I want us to sit down. Oh, me, I'm not happy with this. And then you sit down. Instead of you to communicate your feelings. When I say feelings, I said you need to say that these are the things that happen and this is how it makes me feel. Some of you, you don't say that. You sit down. You just start like you're accusing. Hey, you are always doing this. You know very well that me, I don't like this. And you just bring the BP of the other person and you people start arguing. And you say, oh, I've always tried to talk to him, but he doesn't listen. No, you talk at him. You're not talking to him. If you were talking to him, then you should have said in a way that it makes another person understand. And a lot of us, we come from a place where we don't know how to, you know, like to sit down with somebody when we are in love with them, or when we really want a relationship that has meaning. We don't know how to be vulnerable with the other person and literally just tell them that this is how I feel or whatever. But you see, a lot of us, we want to throw in as an accusation, or we want to bringing it as this, if it's an issue that the earth is coming to an end. You know? Present your feelings, the issues that you have, in a way that the other person can also be receptive. And believe me, this, how we are talking here, is like a show, like, you know, like a program we're doing. But if you sit with a man, you are in the bedroom, Have you ever asked yourself why you are shouting? Because you're sitting on the same bed. Like I talked about how you communicate, when you communicate and all those things. But I give you an example now. You sit on the bed with the man. Do you ask yourself why you are shouting? The man is sitting next to you. He can hear you. Women, we do it a lot. Oh, of course, there's also men who are out of order. They will shout and shout and shout. But there is more women who will sit next to a man, but will be shouting. Hey, this is why. We actually believe that the more we are charged, the more we are yelling, that's how we actually make our point. Okay? But no. The more you do that, the more the person stops listening. You're irritating them. The more it loses its meaning. Me, actually, I used to think that when you get angry and you're yelling and the person is sitting right there and there's just two of you there, I thought that that's when I'm showing that I'm frustrated. But that's not true. You can sit next to someone and tell them in a very nice way and tell them exactly what happens. They will even click on the conversation you're talking about and say, oh yeah, I really do that. I'm really sorry. And please, in communication, do apologize the things that even you didn't think they were wrong. But if somebody tells you that every time you say this to me, every time you do this, or you compare me to your ex, that cuts me. It makes me feel small. It makes me feel like you really don't care about the relationship. You still think about your ex. When somebody is telling you these things, please stop even trivializing things. Then some of you now move from all this defense. You start to it's like gaslighting the other person, which is toxic again, making them feel like, oh, you are just too sensitive as well. Me, I don't mean those things. I just talk about my ex, because my ex and me were this, and you are at it again. She's just told you, or he has just told you that they don't like that, but you do it again right in front of them. Because it's like you haven't grown to come to the place of saying, when somebody is taking the time to communicate to you that something is a bother, they need your attention to that and they want you to work on that. This is how we lose relationships. And some of us, like I said, we don't want to apologize to say, it's true that I was doing that, but you know what, to be honest, that was not my intention. And I always challenge people to say, if really and truly in your heart, you don't mean to hurt the other person, and the other person has brought to your attention that what you did actually hurt them, what is so difficult for you to apologize then? Anything that you do in this life, if you didn't mean it, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to say, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that really bothered you. I'm sorry. No, a lot of us, we insist that, oh, you're the one who is just being sensitive. I didn't even mean that. It's not a big deal. We want to continue doing that. That's toxic behavior. You're putting somebody through a lot, but you want to make it look like it's okay. No. So communication, if you're communicating effectively, say it in a way that people should know how it's making you feel. Don't interpret that they already know they are doing it deliberately, so you are bringing it as an attack. You're talking at them, you're being rude and all that. No. Say it in a way that they should also understand that their actions are doing something. And if you're somebody who has been approached to say what you do or how you speak and whatever is affecting the person that you have a relationship with, then listen and do something about it. Like I already told you, there are so many things you are used to. Maybe how you grew up. We come from different places. How you grew up, maybe how you speak where you come from is acceptable. But this person is not finding it okay. It's making them feel uncomfortable. It's hurting them. Then listen. And like I say, if you choose not to speak, and then on a different day, somebody is bringing you an issue, don't come defensive and say, oh, you also do this. You are deflecting deliberately. That's toxic. And I've told you also about refusing to speak and say, oh, because this person said this, also I'm going to just decide that I'm not talking again. All that is childish. Effective communication, you sit down and you listen to the other person and don't make fun of other people's feelings. Somebody is saying something and some of you laugh along the conversation. Or you'll be rolling your eyes as if to say, oh, please. if this is the relationship, I want to promise you that at one point, the other person will stop telling you anything. They'll stop expecting anything from you. They'll just carry on and start doing their own thing. There are so many relationships where everybody is doing their own thing. They wake up, they are sharing bills, but everybody's going away and doing their own thing. Why? Because communication is no longer there. And let me tell you the danger of this type of behavior of failing to communicate. When you are in a relationship and you have frustrated each other so much that you've stopped now communicating properly, you miss out on a lot of things. And if you have children, then God help you. Because even when your children are sick, you forget to tell each other that, okay, so the baby had a paracetamol in the morning. The doctor said that the baby needs another amoxicillin at such a time. But because you are so mad why he had a text message in his phone, you haven't sat down to talk to the man. You didn't even ask. You have assumed. You know, if you have a twisted mind, if you have a mind that you are always looking for something, do you know you can open a man's phone and just find a phone, a message that says, oh, babes, good morning. And you have already interpreted that he's talking to a girlfriend. So because of that, you are so mad that you cannot tell this man that this baby has already had paracetamol. Can he only give this? You leave the house, you are so on fire. That fire you're carrying would easily be put out by just asking if you need to ask. And if there's something you want to understand. And even at that, if you want to talk about that, your child is more important than this whole chakra that you're holding. Just tell the man what you need to tell the man. When to communicate is another thing that I said. We talked so much about how, but when, if you people are rushing to work in the morning, why do you want to start addressing about a text message in the phone as if you people are not coming back? You're coming back to the house. Okay, if this is James who maybe in the morning he's going so he has no time and you guys, you don't live together, create another time. Do you understand? Don't make things as if the other person is escaping. No, create an environment where this conversation can be had without the other person feeling like, oh, I'm in a rush, I gotta go to work, I'll address this. Because if somebody is rushing somewhere to work or somewhere they are going to a funeral or whatever, somewhere important that they have to be there on time, they will really rush you. They'll say, can you be quick? It's not that they are running away from addressing the issue. You picked the wrong time. And some of you, because you have something, somebody comes from work, they don't know that you have this thing in your heart. They don't know that this is an issue for you, that there was a message. You didn't say anything before. But they're coming back from work. They are telling you that my boss, came this morning. I'm the one who worked on this project from the beginning to the end. Could you believe that he literally take the project and give it to somebody else? And the man is broken. Women, we are the ones who do this type of foolishness of addressing issues in the wrong time. And the man is broken. This job means a lot to him. The project he's telling you means a lot to him. Because when you're communicating with someone, it's not always about you and him. Sometimes a man or a woman will communicate something that's just about what they do, but they're coming to you because you are the person who can always give them the balance, or you are the person who can make them feel better. So the man is telling you that this is what happened to his project. And when he went to approach the boss, the way he has answered him is like he doesn't care. So the man is hurt. You don't respond to that. Instead, you say, oh, who is Pamela? Me, I don't care about what you're saying about his boss, your boss. I want to understand who his Pamela is. Do you really believe that this man will care about your question when you don't care about his job? No, he will not. He will not. As a matter of fact, this Pamela you're talking about, if it was a girl who texts him but he didn't want him, he's actually going to call her and annoy you. Because now he's thinking, did I just tell you about my situation and you're busy talking about a Pamela that is not even important to me? Women, a man who respects you a lot will even share his struggles, whether at work, whether life itself, whether what bothers him. A conversation that a man chooses to have with you should be able to tell you how important you are to him. A lot of women will pay attention to a man who, when he shows up, he's already taking your clothes off. He's busy literally ripping your bra. You say, I think I'm too hot. That's why this man is always trying to grab me and have sex with me. No. A man who comes to you and tell you that he's so sad. A man who can even cry in front of you. A man who can come to communicate things that are really a bother with him. You mean a lot to him. You should be worried in your life when you have a man who can't even tell you that he has so many worries on his head. When he comes to you, he's just talking to you. Oh, did the children have this? Or did this? And he don't tell you. Instead, he chooses to call his friend, or he has this conversation with somebody else, or his mother, or maybe other people. He's telling you, when he does that, he's telling you that it's like your head is empty. Oh, because of how you welcome issues, or how you handle issues, he can't be bothered with you. Okay? But if you can welcome an issue and say, oh, is that what happened? Oh, don't worry. You know, and you can even put some sort to help him feel better, to say, you know what, some of these bosses is like they have their own issues in their life. Don't take them seriously. Sorry, guys. Don't take them seriously. You are an amazing man, you know. We depend on you. You've always done this. You've always done. If this man can't appreciate you, don't sweat for it. You know, come, let's eat. We talk about it while you're eating. The food is here. And you talk, you make the man feel better. Tomorrow, if you say, who is Pamela? He can even say, you mean you don't know Pamela? Pamela is so and so. But she's in your phone. She said, oh, don't mind her. She said this because of this. Some relationships are easier going because everybody has grown on their own. What helps communication sometimes is not just the story, I'm going forward with this. Sometimes is you choosing to take that personal journey and say, I need to grow as a person. When I'm communicating, how should I be communicating? When the other person doesn't understand, what do I do? When the other person comes at me charging, do I step down? Or do I also go ahead? Oh, when the other person says something that I feel like is just disrespectful, shall I say something back? Or shall I step back and see that I choose a different moment? You know, if you are with somebody who wants to quarrel all the time and you don't rise up to that occasion, one day they'll get tired, or you will just find time and tell them in a simple sentence that, you know what, me, I don't appreciate you talking to me, ABC. And if it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, you tell them that I don't think this relationship is good for me. You don't have to sweat to fight people. If you are with somebody who is problematic and you have not grown, so you don't have the skill, yeah? You don't have the skill to deal with such a person, you will suffer with people because of their inadequacy, if you like. Knowing how to communicate, knowing how to hold a conversation, is a personal thing, if you like, for me. Because, you know, you can be a very good communicator as well. Talk and explain things. If you're dealing with somebody who they've not taken that personal journey, you are in trouble still. Because everything, they will even interpret it. You will just say something like what I was saying, you present an issue. They say, oh, so you mean I'm not good enough? You haven't even said that. You are just bringing their attention to a particular issue. Oh, so now I'm a bad person. Oh, so I'm this. And there are people who like to play victim. Stop that rubbish already. There are people who, you're 40 years old. You're 35 years old. You're 30 years old, for goodness sake. Your spouse or your boyfriend is telling you that they don't like ABC. The next thing, oh, so you mean I'm not a good person? Oh, how could you say this? And you start playing all this, or you start crying to make the other person feel bad. And they say, okay, it's okay. They didn't mean to upset you. What kind of rubbish is that? When somebody is talking to you, be the other. That's why I said that there's also some personal growth there. It's not something that will just come naturally to say that, oh, because somebody is speaking to you nicely, then you are going to also understand it nicely. No. There are some people, even if you're speaking to them nicely, they always want to play victim. They don't want to address what you're saying. Instead, they are coming, oh, how could you say that about me? And then they start crying and the person feels like, okay, all right, okay. And they leave the issue. But what you're doing is you are punishing the other person, because now they are feeling if they say something is going to upset you, you're going to be crying. They will look like a bad person. But what they were telling you, you are actually doing it. And so it is not going to change. And so they're going to get tired. You see how these relationships can be toxic as well? Can we all make an effort to look inside our life? Can we all make an effort to see that we equip ourselves when it comes to a communication? Make sure that if we have an issue, we open our mouth and say it. Make sure that when we are saying it, we say it properly and we include our feelings, how it makes us feel. And now when we say something, we allow the other person to also speak, you know, and they tell us how they feel or whatever it is. And then we can even tell other people how we feel, that we can be supported with whatever issue that is so outstanding. And after that, when other people are also telling us to say, okay, this is how I feel, this is what I do, this is what you do, whatever, be receptive and see what you can do to make the situation better. You want a relationship to be enjoyable, and somebody is telling you that what you're doing, they're not enjoying it. Why are you arguing? Why are you angry? You know, so do something and see what can be done, and vice versa. And if there are certain areas you are actually lacking, make the effort to equip yourself for the sake of the other person. Because if you're not fully equipped, you are being a liability in a relationship. And an example is that one where I told you that every single thing you're crying, you're making it look like, oh, why did you say this? Pretending to cry or crying, whatever it is, when somebody is not insulting you, they just brought an issue, you are hurting them, because you're making them feel bad for only addressing something that you could have easily, you know, attended to. And in the end, they will feel the need to talk to other people and not you, because they'll feel like, oh, it's gonna be an issue, or they'll be short. They'll just start living things, and when they get tired, this is how you see people just start misbehaving in a relationship, because they feel frustrated. Lacking communication is a frustrating thing. Everybody needs to make the effort to make sure that communication in the relationship is good, you know. And then there's all this strange behavior where people, they don't communicate what has actually happened. Instead, they jump to have sex. I don't really get that. People say, oh, it's the makeup sex. I don't know what makeup sex is. For me, if you have an issue that was so heated, I would rather you find time to address that issue separately. If you people want to have sex as a separate issue. And if you are a very serious person who is matured, who has mastered what communication is, and you have met someone who they are very quick to leave the issue here and go there to have sex, okay, let them have the sex that they want. But when they finish, tell them that you wanted to talk about this, so that they should know that this sex does not absorb them of anything. Okay? This issue needs addressing. Okay? Then address the issue. If you have somebody who they think every time they can avoid the issue, bring you to this sex, I've told you, all those things are toxic behaviors. If there's an issue, please talk about it. There's an issue, and the person who is always running for sex, you know, is the one who is guilty. They want to pretend kissing you, distracting you, doing this so you don't address what it says. It's toxic, because sex will only take 2 seconds. But after that, everything you were feeling about that issue, you will still feel it again. And one day they will do it again, and you'll be angry again. And then what? And it's not effective. At one point, you will stop enjoying everything. Power of conversations. Okay? You remember in the Bible, yeah? The 2 sisters, you know, Mary and Maria. When Jesus went there, one chose to be in the kitchen, running up and down, running up and down. She says she's cooking. According to her, according to our traditions, I suppose, in her tradition as well, she felt like when you have a guest, you need to cook a nice meal for them. Kwa jijirikira, do whatever you're doing. But the other one, she came to sit next to Jesus to know him. She was asking him questions. She was, you know, talking to him. She had great conversations. But do you know what? Jesus said that the one who sat next to him, she's the one who chose the best part. This happens even in relationships. There's women who choose to run up and down, clean, iron, doing this. No conversation with the husband. Do you know who is having conversation with him? MG2, side chick, friend from work, and whatever. Why? Because you have chosen a part that is not very, very vital. You've chosen a part that a cleaner can do, a maid can do, and so many other people can do, even a relative can do. You have deserted a part that only you should be the anchor there. So tonight, what I'm saying is, sometimes what is a problem in a relationship is not your friend George, is not your friend Jen, is communication. There are some of you, you even claim that your relationship, you're arguing with your spouse because of so and so. That's a lie. When you are inside your bedroom, especially those who are married, when you're inside your bedroom, what do you talk about? Because some of you, even inside the marriage, forget about Elubesef. You inside your marriage, when you're talking, you're always talking about other people. When you and your husband stay awake, you are discussing what was said about somebody. You're discussing about how somebody looks. You're discussing, you're discussing other people. Just removing other people, you have nothing to discuss about. You have no relationship. When you are in your bedroom, if you are talking about each other, how you admire each other, the plans you want to have, you talk about your kids and everything, how can anybody turn up in your bedroom? What power do they have? They don't. But because you yourselves, you're trying to run away from something that you are failing. This is how you're bringing other people that they are the reason why you are arguing. They are the reason why you can't have a normal conversation. No, the communication has been broken long time. And even in a relationship where you see a man and a woman, they are free to disrespect each other even in front of people. Those things don't just happen. They've been doing it inside their house. They've been doing it in places. You, if you ever catch them, they have become comfortable. They can argue in front of people. They can argue in front of their children. They can do all kinds of foolishness. They don't see anything. They've become comfortable to disrespect. You know, people who have time in their own bedroom, they don't sweat. Something even happens in front of people, they leave it. They go home to their own bedroom. They'll say, what the hell was that? What do you think were you doing there, back there? What kind of foolishness were you doing at that place? In their bedroom. I don't want to say that again. Because you made me feel this, you made me feel that. And did you see this? Did you see that? And they will talk. They'll bring each other correct. When they come out again, they know what they are doing. But you want to claim that in your bedroom, you're arguing because of so and so. You're arguing because communication is no good. You want to say what you want to say. The other person want to say what to say. Nobody is trying to address what is there. So focus on your problems and discuss them. Focus on your issues. Stop going everywhere to correct what else is happening in other people's lives, but you can't even address what is happening in your own marriage. You can't even talk about, for example, which, you know, it might be sensitive for someone, but you know, when you really love someone, you might be struggling, thinking, oh, I want to have a baby. Oh, but it's not happening. These are the things you need to bring inside your bedroom to make sure that you and your spouse, you sort out and say, oh, maybe we need IVF, or maybe we need to do that. You don't do that, but you're out there laughing at other people. You're out there talking about things that don't concern you, don't bring you happiness. Your friends are in their bedroom discussing with their husband, saying, our son is growing. Have you seen how he's doing this? The way he's looking, his muscles, he's looking like you. But you know what? At this age, we need to start thinking, don't we need to send him to a school where he can do this? That's what your friends are discussing inside their bedroom. About themselves and their children, what they can do for them. You don't have time. But you don't even see how this type of behavior, you are creating bad things for your own family or even for your own children. Because your children, you are not thinking about them or discussing with your spouses what you want to do for them. You're just discussing people. discussing people. Some you are even inside the bedroom. You are on the phone still talking to somebody else. But you are on your bed, matrimonial bed. But you are talking to somebody else inside that bed. And you are saying it's people who are the problem for your marriage. May God help you. Like I already told you the example of those two sisters. Jesus said the one that was sitting next to him, she chose the best part. You will learn a lot about your spouse, about your boyfriend, about your friend, whoever it is that you choose to be close to. You will learn a lot because of a conversation. These friends these days, there are people who will run away with something. They will not ask their friend. Ah, yeah, amate. Oh, yeah, they don't ask anything. They run away with what they want. Now, you ask yourself, why do you string your friend along? Then why do you keep them in your life if you think they are that bad? But this is where you realize that people are living frustrated life because they don't even know why they keep a certain friend if they are so sure that this is not the right person for them. And some of you, to add the shame to it, apart from talking your friends, you have nothing good to say about the person you are married to. Every time you're busy bashing them. Oh, he does this all the time. Oh, she does this all the time. Who are you telling? And what do you expect them to do? So even in communication, always ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this discussion? Make sure that is, goes across. Number one. Number two, why am I telling this person if you are just communicating with anybody anyhow, something that doesn't concern them? Why are you telling them? Go to the person that is concerned and go and communicate that. Don't go out there and communicate to the wrong people. So we have said so many things, but the bottom line tonight is communication is very important. Okay? Communication is very, very, very important. If you have never communicated with your spouse or the person you are with, married or boyfriend, girlfriend, or friend, try. No, honestly, try and sit down with them and just tell them to say, you know what, me, you see, sometimes I don't do this, I don't do that, because I just feel like maybe, you don't care about me because, the other day I said this, but this is what you replied and, it made me feel this. You'll be surprised. Pride is one of the things that stop people communicating. I'm not gonna say anything. Maybe she think that I care. Oh, maybe she think I can't live without her. A lot of people who carry that attitude of pride that I can't tell this. Oh, sinima nyingelera chinsake. Oh, sinima nyingelera banja. They are sad. Because deep down, they care. Deep down, they want the same thing. But why they are not getting it is because they've chosen not to simply communicate. So go on that personal journey and equip yourself and learn what communication can do for you. Okay? Don't just sit here and, assume things or misinterpret things and run away with them. No. And if you don't understand, please, I repeat, when you don't understand something, don't rephrase it and say it in the way that it suits your thinking. No. Ask what the person means and allow them to say it. Some of you will not allow somebody to say what they want, their mind. You'll be arguing. Oh, so you said this because you're the one who pays for this. You see your mind. It's because you already have these things in your head where maybe you are feeding in video or you're feeding with this. Oh, don't tell me that. My father has this. So there is also that superiority complex. So there are so many barriers to communication, but I've talked about this topic for too long. I think I can talk about this on another day. Like there's barriers to that. But to me, I put it all to personal growth. Because when you grow as a person, you start to cancel. When I say growth, I'm not talking about age. A deliberate, way of learning things in life. When you learn and realize that all these things about inferiority complex, whether superiority complex, or thinking that because you are so educated in that relationship, so then everything that the other person says, you have to misinterpret it or you have to revise it and say it in a certain way, all those are barriers. And even other things I told you here, being toxic and defensive, they are all barriers. Because the other person is trying to do something, but you are just bringing your own foolishness to it. You understand? So for me, Communication. In everything that you get in your life, learn to communicate. Above all, listen to understand what the other person is saying. Not listen to just answer. Listen to understand. Understanding. Very, very, very important. If you didn't understand, and I don't know how many times I've told you this, if you didn't understand, ask. Not to put what you want to put. Ask what the person meant. Let them rephrase it. Or let them say it again. Okay? You understand before you answer. So that when you're answering according to what they meant. Okay? If I say I want a drink, you can always check to say, oh, what drink did you want? Do you want water? Do you want squash or whatever? And I say, oh, I don't mind water. You see, you're checking things with me. But you who has Puma, when somebody say, I want a drink, you just get up, you say you have understood. You go and make tea. And the person said, oh, well, I didn't want a warm drink. Oh, why didn't you just say exactly what you wanted? That's an attitude to life. You need to just check certain things. Relax. Relax with life and check things as you go and do what you need to do. All these things I'm telling you, if you choose to take communication as a priority and make sure that when somebody communicates, you really understand what they meant, and if you didn't, you actually ask, you enjoy a relationship. Even this sex thing that we are talking about, you enjoy sex more with the person that you have great conversations. When conversations are not great, people stop having sex. Go and ask now. Because conversations are not great. Everybody is frustrated. Everybody is angry. So, who cares? Do you understand? This is why, even when you talk about cheating, there's emotional cheaters. Who do you think those people are? Emotional cheaters are the people who emotionally are out there depending on somebody else, but they are in a relationship with somebody else. Okay? So, that's what I'm saying to you. So, I'll remind you again. In your life, put communication at the very top. Relationship lasts not because you are the most beautiful, you are the most rich. Communication. Communication will make yourself feel good that the other person understand you and you understand them and everything is going to according to plan. And people who communicate, they set a good mood that even if when they meet, they can have sex so many times and enjoy it. When you don't communicate or you keep things, you are a toxic person walking around angry. If people ask you, why are you angry? Hey, he's always doing this. Oh, she's always doing this. Did you tell her? She already knows. I've already told her before. Really? So, take communication seriously and don't make excuses using people. No. Make an effort yourself. And if you are someone who is still looking, check that you and this person of your interest, you have good communication before entering marriage. Because once you don't take it serious on this first step and you are already married, nobody is going to help you to communicate inside the marriage. And there is going to be even more frustrating. So when you're in a relationship, and I'm not talking about a communication as in to say, oh, hello, sugar. Oh, I miss your lips. Oh, I miss your this. No. I'm talking about when you are dating, can you be able to tell the other person if you're not happy, if their behavior is affecting you? Even a man who really loves you, but you see how he's so friendly with his secretary and you feel a certain way, try on a relationship and say to him, the way you talk to your secretary, I try and, try to not to mind what is happening. But for some reason, my mind is just uneasy about it. Should I be worried? A good man will tell you, don't worry. And if it's really bothering you, I'll try and make sure that I don't do this, I don't do that. It shouldn't be a problem. A person will show you at the very early stage that communication, you and them will always go and it will work. You understand? And when we say good communication, it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be offenses. There wouldn't be things that actually that you thought maybe they are really the truth. But we have said apologize. We have said understand each other. And there you go. Okay, so so that is it, guys. Anyway, I think I've said so many things. I'll come back with this topic at a later date, because I know that communication is really a challenge for a lot of us. We like to assume things, and we like to act as if we know what the other person is thinking, or we like to think that the other person already knows what we think, but they don't, you know? So thank you so much for today. You have a lovely evening. There is somebody, lovely night, I mean, saying evening. There's somebody, are you trying to come live and talk to me? Masongiso anapita ku school ya communication iweso kugoma. But if you were talking about Songiso in the sense of, you know, like you say something to him, he knows the right things to say, and he knows how to make you feel good, but he don't follow with action. I think in my post, I've already mentioned that you need to be matching what people say with their actions. So if a man said he's really sorry, then you expect that behavior to change. If he keep doing it, he didn't mean it. So we will talk more about communication. But thank you so much, guys, for tonight then. Bye-bye.